All right, Larry Krueger here at Levi's for the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er update as we update everything that happened down here in Santa Clara on a Wednesday as the Niners are preparing to fly to Tampa to take on the 4-1 Bucks, a battle of division leaders Sunday at Raymond James Stadium or whatever they're calling it these days. But the Niners practiced today. As far as who practiced and who didn't practice, Ricky Pearsall remains out with the knee injury. Kyle said, he didn't practice Monday, he didn't practice today. We'll see about Thursday or Friday. It doesn't look like Pearsall's trending towards playing. He looks like he's trending towards not playing. Jordan Watkins out with the calf. Robert Beal Jr. out with the ankle. Brock Purdy out with the toe, did not practice. Juwan Jennings out with ribs, ankle, shoulder. He's got a bunch of things. Alfred Collins out with the knee. Yatir Gross-Matos out with the knee and the hammy. Trent Williams got a Veterans Day off today. Christian McCaffrey got a Veterans Day off today. Now, as far as the limited guys, CJ West, who's got that thumb wrapped up tight after the fracture and the surgery, he was limited today in practice. Mac Jones was limited with a knee injury. Kevin Givens was back at practice today. He's coming back from a pec injury. And he had his 3-week window opened. So the Niners have 3 weeks to activate Kevin Givens or put him on season-ending IR. Malik Mustafa also had his 3-week practice window opened on Monday. And he was again out there today, and we talked to him before practice. And, he's excited to be out there, man. I said, hey, you've been out a while. How's it feel? And he's like, man, I'm just so eager to get back and looking to be back to my former self. And we'll see if he can start Sunday. He is a true missile as a run defender, and he's got good numbers as a pass defender. So he's a complete player. Will he take Marquise Siegel's job? It looks like teams are picking on Siegel a little bit, or will Jason Pinnock be the person who comes off the field? We'll have to see. I think long-term, Mustafa and Siegel are the safety tandem, the starting safety tandem, and I think they'll fit together really well. But Siegel's been attacked by opposing offensive coordinators pretty consistently the last few weeks, and he may get his snap total diminished a little bit or reduced a little bit with the return of Malik Mustafa, if Mustafa is able to go on Sunday. Kalia Davis had his hand wrapped up. He was limited today at practice. Upton Stout had his ankle injury, and so he also was limited at practice. As far as other things that came out today, Shanahan was asked, is Brock Purdy going on IR for a 4-week stay? And he said, no, it doesn't seem like it. It seems like he's progressing. Now, I kind of think this is bad news because that kind of means that they're going to try to let Brock get back on the field in the next couple of weeks. And I don't think I would. I mean, this toe injury is pretty significant. I'd rather see him rest it for a month and put him on IR, but they don't want to do that, it sounds like. And I don't think Brock wants to do that. I don't think he wants to commit to being out 4 games. So right now, he's not on season-ending IR. He's taking up a roster spot and unable to play. Kyle was asked, are you comfortable with the fact that you're basically 60-40 pass run at this point? You're 59-point-something% pass. And he's like, obviously he's always trying to achieve balance, but it's not something that he says he's overly concerned about. I asked him about Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has the #1 run defense in the entire league. And I asked him, what's the key to that run D outside of Vita Vea, who's just a freaking Coke machine in the A-gaps? I mean, he's just like a gigantic, he's like the Big Island or something, you know what I mean? It's like he's just a huge man, and he's right in the A-gaps, and you just can't run inside. But Kyle said, no, it's not necessarily Vita Vea, it's Todd Bowles' scheme. He said he's always had a really good scheme against the run, and they play their scheme really, really well. Kyle was asked about the trade deadline and the John Lynch quote that the Niners are going to have to kind of earn their way to make a trade. And he said, we're looking for guys who can help us this year and not cost us a lot next year. In other words, we don't want to trade next year's #1 draft choice because we have that earmarked for an offensive tackle. We really don't want to trade, day 1 or day 2 draft capital if we can avoid it. So I think the Niners, I know the fans are talking Trey Hendrickson. The fans are talking Jeffrey Simmons. The fans are thinking big-name guys. I just think I would dial that down. I don't think it's a big-name trade year. I think it's a year where they may trade, maybe multiple day 2 picks for multiple players, but I don't think they're going to trade day 1 or day 2 draft capital. I don't have a source on that. It's just a feeling that I get. Shanahan also said there's a chance that George Kittle returns next week for Atlanta. No promises, but there's a chance he won't be back this week. He was asked, about the Dermercado fumble, and it's funny, Kyle had the same thought I had, which was, man, it looked awfully close to a touchdown. I mean, it looked like that ball broke the plane before he let it out of his hands. I don't know about that. I mean, they can on goal line running plays, they can tell if the nose of the ball gets over. But on that play, they didn't seem like they had the same technology, and I'm not sure why. But yeah, Kyle said he thought it might have been a touchdown. As far as his run game, he said obviously he doesn't like the results. The Niners are not running the ball well. But he said he's proud to get over the 30 rushes plateau because that means they had to do a bunch of other things right to stay on the field offensively. So he liked that part of it, but he didn't necessarily like the way the run game looked. And this week they're going up against the number 1 run defense in football, so I would imagine it's not going to look a whole lot better. Kyle was asked about how he talked about how this team is made of the right stuff, that they have the right character, the right grit. And he said, I wasn't necessarily talking and comparing this to past teams. He's like, I was just so happy that we showed so much character and so much grit when you factor in how much roster turnover we've had. It's a totally new team with a lot of young players. So that he was trying to clarify that. He wasn't trying to say that last year's team lacked character or lacked grit, but I think he wasn't sure what to expect with so many rookies on the team this year, and he likes the character and he likes the grit he's seen so far. I asked him about Mac's ability to assert leadership. There was a play in this game where Mac ran up to Kendrick Bourne and after he dropped a pass and was kind of lifting him up a little bit. And he just said, hey, Mac's been himself every day, and he's been very consistent. And those are the traits that Kyle's looking for in a leader. Be yourself, be organic, be consistent. Be the same guy every day. And that's what Mac Jones has done. And then Kyle was also asked about Eddie Pinheiro. Why was such a good kicker available? And Kyle said, I don't know. I mean, it really is baffling. As far as Mac Jones, the average depth of target for Mac Jones is 7.1 yards. That ranks 31st in the NFL among 33 quarterbacks. He ranks 10th in adjusted completion percentage, 12th in EPA per play, 17th in passer rating. So he's not driving the ball down the field per se, but he is getting his feet lined up with his first target, and he's delivering strikes, and he's moving the team, and he's playing in rhythm. So these are all good things. As far as Tampa Bay this week, their defense is 27th in EPA against the pass and number 1 against the run. So we'll see. We'll see if the Niners can throw the ball against this Tampa secondary, which may be on cornerback 4 and 5 by the time it rolls around to game time. Niners signed Bruce Hector. They had a workout of 5 or 6 players yesterday, and they signed Hector. Hector played 6 games for the Jets last season. He had 1 sack and 10 total tackles. He participated in Niner training camp, but was released August 26th. The one thing I like about Bruce Hector, he plays really hard. Really, really hard. He's a guy who brings it, and the effort's there. So, if you're going to have your backups, you want to make sure that their motor is, really revving. And there's no doubt Bruce Hector's motor is really revving. We talked to Eddie Pinheiro at his locker, and I asked him, what's your on-field routine? And he's like, when the ball gets to about the 40-yard line, I start to loosen up. I start to, start thinking about it a little bit. I start to take some practice kicks, and I kind of get in my mode mentally to go out there. Eddie Pinheiro, by the way, today named the NFC Special Teams Player of the Week. He's 11 for 11 on field goal attempts since signing with the Niners. He was named NFC Special Teams Player of the Week. He made field goals last week of 20, 37, 41, and 59 yards. And it's the 4th time in his career that Eddie has been given a Player of the Week designation. So way to go, Eddie. We should tell you we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out, and they do run out. So get there early, get some brisket, say hi to Damon and Mary, tell them Krug sent you. And 49er football season on the Krug Show is presented by Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chats, season-long leagues, and of course Sleeper picks for daily fantasy. Use promo code Larry and Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. Links in the description. Terms and conditions do apply. I get a lot of people asking me about Jake Brendel. What do you think of Jake Brendel? What do you think of Jake Brendel? I'll just give you the numbers. Brendel gave up 3 pressures in this last game against the Rams. He was also beaten an additional 4 times against them. He earned a 33.6 PFF pass blocking grade, which is not very good. Second lowest among centers this week. He's 25th in pass blocking, and he's 4th in run blocking. So he's done the job as a run blocker. He's struggled mightily as a pass blocker. As far as the broadcast this week, Tony Romo and Jim Nantz will be on the TV side for Niners Buccaneers. The Niners run defense gets a break. There is no Bucky Irving. The Niners run defense last year, EPA, was 29th in the NFL. This year, they're with Robert Saleh and Gus Bradley coming aboard. They've gone from 29th to 8th. I think that's really, really interesting. But offensive line-wise, the Niners are struggling. They lead the NFL in negative run percentage at 16.5%. They're 32nd dead last in run block win rate. They're 31st in stuffed run percentage. So, I don't know. Kyle Shanahan doesn't seem like he's in a rush to make any kind of lineup changes, but they really have not been good as a run blocking outfit. It's really just as simple as that. The NFL trade deadline is Tuesday, November the 4th. Will the Niners make a deal? I don't know. There's been a lot of names speculated. I think the one that's really interesting to me, Matt Mayoko, in an article for Niner Noise, mentioned how Xavier Legette, the Carolina wide receiver, the guy who wrote the article on Niner Noise, thought that maybe he would be a good guy for the Niners to trade for at the trade deadline. Now, I know the Niners don't hold Carolina in very high regard as an organization, so just because he bombed in Carolina doesn't mean he's going to bomb here. The write-up said another player who could help San Francisco is wide receiver Xavier Legette. After 1 year, the Panthers felt it necessary to draft another wide receiver. They drafted Ted McMillan in the first round and bring Legette's usage way down. Having a guy with Legette's size and skill would be a change of pace for the 49ers, and how banged up they always seem at wide receiver, it looks like a great idea to add some depth. You know, somebody just skidded by. I like the idea of Xavier Legette, especially if you could get him for a day 3 pick. Big, fast, raw wide receiver who, in this organization, let this guy work with Jerry Rice for a month and let's see what he's got. One other note, Jake Tonges has an 18.8 TMTGT percentage with a combined receiving numbers of 16 targets, 10 catches, 99 yards total, and 2 touchdowns. He might be the guy to watch this week, guys, because the Buccaneers have given up 2 touchdown games back-to-back to Dallas Goedert in Philadelphia and then A.J. Barner last week with Seattle. So they're not great at defending the tight end, which could be a great sign for Jake Tonges. And by the way, it is, somebody asked, is it Tonges or Tonges? It's Tonges. So look for Tonges to have a good performance Sunday in Tampa. All right, that's going to do it for us. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle. Thanks to Sleeper. Thanks to all of you for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.